Shavua Tov, Gute Woch. We are in the 19th day, actually the 20th day tonight, the 20th day of Kislev, Chav Kislev. We have just finished the day of Shabbat, Shabbos, where it was the 19th day of Kislev. And in this day, it is called Rosh Hashanah for Hasidus, for the teachings of Hasidus. So I'm going to refer something to why is this day called that way. And the story is with the Alter Rebbe, the first Rebbe of Chabad. He was, just to be historically correct, in Liozna and Liadi, not yet in Lubavitch. And both towns, if we want to find where they are today in Bielorussia. They had before the time of the story, they had been under the control of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and were conquered by the Russians, and at the time of the Alter Rebbe, they were already under the control of the Russian Empire. There is a relevance why I mention such a thing. At the time of the Alter Rebbe, he was taking a step farther than had been taken even before. The point in the time of the Baal Shem Tov was a revelation of a certain approach to teaching and learning and practicing Judaism that in the one hand would appeal to the common folk, in the other hand will bring the deepest secrets of the Torah, that which the Mekubalim, the Kabbalists, had hidden and only revealed in very short, small circles, and mostly hidden completely. The Kabbalah that had been taught up to that time was like some elements that looked like magic, playing to try to hide the real depth of things. In the time of the Baal Shem Tov, this Raza Deoraita, the secrets of Torah, come up to the open, but still orally to those who learn from the Baal Shem Tov, and only his students will kind of put together the teachings. Things will come even farther to be compiled and put together by the students of the successor of the Baal Shem Tov, the Mesrich Maggid, the Maggid of Mesrich. In the time of the Alter Rebbe, a revolution is taking place. The Alter Rebbe is teaching Hasidus, putting it in writings that are copied and distributed and are going further and further everywhere. The Misnagdim, the opposing movement based on Lithuania, at the time the big Chacham, the Talmud, the Gaon of Vilna, but the people in Vilna involved with him, wherever the whole story, who are the Misnagdim, are questioning the validity of the teachings of Hasidus as true Torah teachings, and exactly what they were doing is a matter of an entire different discussion. The point is that they oppose Hasidus vehemently, and they try to stop the Hasidim from teaching Hasidus. And here is the Alter Rebbe, whose knowledge of Torah, both in Halacha and Kabbalah, in Nigla and Nistar, and the things that are revealed and the things that are hidden, is so high that they have a hard time confronting him. And so an accusation is raised against him. And this is the way it's phrased. He had organized the charities for the Jews of Jerusalem, of Yerushalayim, the poor Jews of Yerushalayim who learn Torah. He was organizing the donations that go to them through Kolel Chabad. And stated that it's a holy duty to help these Jews in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, the land of Israel, was at the time under the Ottoman Empire, and there was a war going on between the Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire. And so the accusation was he is sending money, sending funds to the enemy. The reality, he's organizing charities for the Jews. The accusation, he's helping as if he was paying the Sultan of the Ottomans to attack the Russians. And the way they phrased it was a dishonest way to do things. But the Alter Rebbe, under such an accusation of treason, was thrown in jail. And while in jail, he realized there is a concept called the spectalia hameira, which in the Gemara in Halacha simply means we have a reflection of ourselves in something. We see something, we should think, what am I doing? How does it reflect to me? In more esoteric writings, in Kabbalah, the mirror, so to speak, is placed flat, and what we see down here on earth is reflecting something in Shamayim. The things that are happening here are connected to what's happening up above. It had happened that a Talmid Chacham had found a kuntres, a pamphlet of the teachings of Hasidus, of his deep secrets of Torah explained openly to everyone, in a makom she'eino raui. This is expression exactly, a place that is not appropriate. Probably, at least as I understood it, it was in a room without a mezuzah. What room in the house doesn't have mezuzah? Well, in that place, somebody who lacked the basic knowledge or sense that you don't bring such a thing there would leave it, and a Talmid Chacham would find it there and say, how could someone without the knowledge that you don't do this bring it here? Because he would get a hold of something that should never be in the hands of such a person. Another explanation is that it was rolling in the streets, blown by the wind. But anyway, it was like, he says, where it should not be. And he started worrying that such high teachings were being spread in a way that they were not allowed. This had brought a worry up in Shamayim, and a kitruk, a trial was taking place against the Alter Rebbe in Shamayim, as an earthly trial was taking place, whether or not he had betrayed the host country in which he lived, the Russian Empire, by helping the Jews of Jerusalem, which were under the Ottoman Empire. The mission of the Baal Shem Tov to teach Hasidus, as we have learned, I think I've told the story a couple of times, is that the Baal Shem Tov had met Mashiach up in the palace, in the quarters of Mashiach in Gan Eden, in a great revelation in Rosh Hashanah, and Mashiach had told him, he asked, until when are we waiting for you? Until the well springs of your teachings are spread, and until people learn to do the Yehudim as you can do. And the Baal Shem Tov knew that such a thing, the spreading of the well springs, would not happen in the proper way in his lifetime. He tried, but it was not allowed. And so he foresaw that his teachings would be followed, and his successor, although his son took over for a year, the one who comes after, the next Rebbe of Hasidus, is the Maggid of Mezrich, Rav Dover of Mezrich. And in the time of Rav Dover, there already was a trial in earth and in Shamayim and a whole situation, and the Alter Rebbe, Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi, had voluntarily offered an explanation that helped and saved the Mezricher Maggid up in Shamayim by telling a story. The story he tells is that there was a king whose son was sick, and none of the royal doctors could heal the son, and he was getting worse day by day, until a young doctor comes and says, we have a cure, we have a solution, but you're not going to be willing to do this. And the king says, why not? I want to save my son's life. What's the price for it? The price is that you have to take the jewel of your crown and ground it to, make powder out of it, and mix it with water and put it in the mouth. I'm going to drink a little. And put it in the mouth of your son, who is paralyzed by pain and by fever, but a drop will go in through the lips, and that will heal him. The drop of that mix of water and the powder of the jewel of the crown. And so the Torah that we teach everyone, and the simplest things, is water. The jewel of the crown is Rasa Deoraita, the secrets of Torah, the highest of the learnings of Kabbalistic learnings, and that is going to go with this water into the mouth of the son of the king, of the common people. Actually are compared to a son of a king. Am Yisrael Nikraim Banim Lamakom were called the children of the Almighty, and so the sons of the kings will be the sons of the king Echad will be drinking even a drop of this, and that will heal us, will bring up our spiritual healing. And that had already happened at the time of the messenger Maggid. Now the Alter Rebbe is in prison. Up in Shemaim, the trial is going, and Moshe Rabbeinu is brought as a witness. And Moshe Rabbeinu is asked, can these things be taught? And Moshe Rabbeinu says, in my time, we could not teach such things. No. And the Alter Rebbe is really worried, because if Moshe Rabbeinu says no, am I transgressing something? Am I going beyond what can be done? But the Baal Shem Tov and the messenger Maggid came to the Alter Rebbe. This is after their passing. They came to him in the prison cell to tell him that now he is the Hamshacha, he is the continuation of the teachings, and he is the Afatza Ma'ayanos Chutza, the one who is taking the well springs outward and forward and spreading them. This is not a drop, this is a wellspring. A geyser coming out, spreading it all over. But this is the purpose of what the Baal Shem Tov began doing. This happens in Chai, in Yud Tes, in Chai Kislev, and the next day the Alter Rebbe is told he will be released on a Sunday. Released, you're found innocent, you're going out of jail. So on earth he was simply found innocent. Giving charities to the Jews of Jerusalem is not a violation of the terms upon which the Jews live in the Russian Empire. He's not giving funds or information to the enemy. Quite the opposite. When Napoleon invaded Russia, actually the Alter Rebbe sided completely with the Tsar and helped in different ways. He helped the evacuation of the Jews, the burning, the scorched land, so that Napoleon will find complete empty land and nothing to live on or to pick up. However it is, the accusation was unfounded. At the same time in Shemaim, the accusation was lifted, and it was proven that what the Alter Rebbe is doing is actually the purpose of the time. That which in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, even in the time of the Baal Shem Tov, was not yet allowed. It became the purpose of teaching of this Rasi Doraita. The Rebbe calls it the Pnimius HaTorah, the innerness of Torah, and so on through the line of the Alter Rebbe until today, until our days. We learn and we follow and we spread the teachings with complete confidence that teaching and learning the ways of Hasidus are the way to go. The Alter Rebbe was 53 days in jail, the gematria of Gan, garden, like Garden of Eden. Without going too far into the meaning of this, the Tanya, the first part of the Sefer Tanya, has 53 chapters. Sefer Likutei Amarim Tanya, that Alter Rebbe put together, didn't get to publish, but put together against the 53 days that he was in jail. It actually is published after his passing, and that we begin to learn in the daily learnings today. And it's called Sefer Shel Beinonim, the book of the middle ones, not the Tzaddikim and not the Rashaim. And the Alter Rebbe wants to teach us not just the importance of being, like the Baal Shem Tov said, the Poshutim, to be a simple person, but that even we don't aspire to become tzaddikim. He's writing for people who aspire to be a middle person, a person in the middle, who are able to overcome all our challenges and not be sinners or transgressors, but be all that we can accomplish. And he emphasizes, as the Baal Shem Tov did, that this is done besimcha ubetov levav, with happiness and with joy, and not making ourselves feel so sorry for what we have done wrong that we cannot correct it. We are depressed, but opposite. May the simcha, the joy of this day, get to us all. May to do good deeds and good things and see the good in everyone, and enjoy a new year of the learnings of Hasidus. And as we say, may we all be written and inscribed for a Shana Tova Umetuka, for a good and sweet year in the learnings and in the ways of Hasidus. A good Yontif, Chag Sameach, good Voch, Shavua Tov.